Say these 12 life-changing phrases every morning. Before the noise of the world reaches you, there is a moment of stillness. In this silence, you have a choice: to carry the weight of yesterday or to plant the energy for today. What you tell yourself each morning becomes the direction of your life. So choose your words wisely and speak from strength. These are 12 powerful truths to tell yourself every morning. What you say to yourself every morning creates the path for your entire day. It may seem like a small moment, a fleeting thought before brushing your teeth, a quiet whisper as you sip your tea, or a sentence that passes your mind while you glance in the mirror. But that moment is everything. That moment is where your day truly begins. Not when the alarm rings, not when you check your phone, not when you step outside. Your day begins the instant you speak to yourself, because that voice becomes your compass. We often underestimate the power of our inner dialogue. The mind is not just a place where thoughts randomly appear. It is a space we are constantly shaping, consciously or unconsciously. Every word you speak to yourself first thing in the morning is like a seed. That seed takes root in your thoughts, your mood, your decisions, and even your body. If you plant negativity, self-doubt, worry, or chaos, those seeds will grow, and soon your entire day will feel heavier, slower, less clear. But if you choose carefully, if you plant peace, intention, strength, and clarity, you will move through the hours ahead with a completely different energy. When you wake up and tell yourself, "I'm tired, this is going to be another hard day," your nervous system listens. Your posture changes, your mood narrows, your thoughts spiral toward what could go wrong. Without realizing it, you start looking for signs that match the story you just told yourself. Maybe the traffic feels worse, the workload feels heavier, the people around you feel more draining, but they didn't change. You did, because of what you told yourself when the day began. Now imagine waking up with a different voice, one that says, "I am here, and I have what I need to move through this day." The difference is not just emotional, it's physical. The breath deepens, the chest opens, the gaze lifts. Your body prepares not for defeat, but for alignment. You are no longer reacting, you are responding from a place of calm authority. This is not about pretending life is perfect. It's not about tricking your mind with fake positivity. It's about choosing what kind of energy you want to carry and then speaking it into motion, because your first thoughts aren't random, they're a pattern you've been rehearsing for years. And like any pattern, it can be rewritten, but it begins with noticing. What are you saying to yourself each morning? Is it helping you? Is it honoring your strength? Or is it quietly chipping away at your confidence before the day has even begun? We are trained by repetition. Just like an athlete trains the body, the mind is trained by what it repeatedly hears. Every time you speak words of fear, laziness, or doubt, you train your mind to believe that reality. But every time you speak truth, real truth, grounded in your potential, you strengthen a different muscle. A muscle that does not panic in discomfort. A muscle that can stay centered in storms. A muscle that doesn't need the outside world to be perfect in order to feel peace inside. Morning is sacred, not because of the hour, but because it's when your mind is most open. You've just emerged from rest. Your conscious thoughts haven't yet crowded in. You're more impressionable. What you say now will echo. So don't waste that window. Don't let the first voice you hear be someone else's. Your inbox, the news, a stranger on a screen. Let it be your own. Let it be wide. You don't need loud words. You don't need to force enthusiasm. You need calm. You need clarity. You need alignment. Just a few quiet, centered words. that anchor you, words that remind you of what matters, words that hold you steady when pressure comes, words that make you feel at home inside yourself. These words are not about becoming someone else. They are about returning to who you've always been. Because deep down, beneath the noise, beneath the fears, there is a part of you that already knows what to do. A part of you that is grounded, a part of you that is strong, patient, and deeply awake. You don't need to create that part. You need to reconnect to it, and that begins each morning with how you speak. So if you've been waking up feeling lost, start here. Not with goals, not with pressure, just with presence. Say to yourself, I am here. I choose to be awake in this moment. I release what does not serve me. I welcome the strength that already lives in me. I am not behind. I am not broken. I am becoming. And I trust the path, even if I cannot see every step. Some mornings, these words may feel natural. Other mornings, they may feel forced. That's okay. Say them anyway. Not because they're magic, but because they are medicine. Medicine for a mind that's been distracted. Medicine for a heart that forgot its own rhythm. Medicine for a soul that simply needs to remember, you are the one who leads your day. The world may pull you in 100 directions, but your first direction, your true north, begins with the words you choose when you first open your eyes. What you say to yourself every morning creates the path for your entire day. So speak with intention and walk that path with awareness. The mind is like a garden. Speak seeds of clarity, courage, and calm. It is easy to forget how powerful our thoughts are when they're so quiet, so fast, so invisible. But every thought you entertain, every word you say to yourself is like a seed, whether you realize it or not. You are planting those seeds into the soil of your mind every single day. Some of them take root immediately. Others grow slowly over time. But one thing is certain, what you feed will flourish. When you wake up and speak worry, you plant anxiety. When you speak doubt, you plant hesitation. When you speak anger, you plant tension. And just like a real garden, the mind does not choose what it grows. It simply nurtures what you plant. This is why conscious self-talk isn't just a habit, it's a responsibility, because the words you choose don't just stay as words. They become beliefs, they become behavior, they shape your perception, they color how you see the world, how you treat others, and how you walk through life. Clarity is a seed. It doesn't mean knowing every step or having every answer. Clarity means being able to sit in the present moment and see things for what they are, not what fear or ego or distraction makes them out to be. When you speak with clarity, you're not trying to control everything. You're simply reminding yourself, I know who I am. I know what matters right now. I can let go of the noise and come back to what is real. Courage is also a seed. Many people think courage comes from action, but it starts with permission. The permission you give yourself to try, to speak, to move forward, even when you're uncertain. When you speak courage to yourself, you are saying, I may feel afraid, but fear will not lead. You're telling your mind, I trust that I can handle what's coming. That kind of talk doesn't make fear disappear, but it makes you bigger than the fear. Then there's calm, a seed so subtle, so overlooked in the modern world. In a world that values speed, noise, reaction, calm is rebellion. When you speak calm into your day, you are anchoring yourself. You are saying, I do not need to be ruled by the chaos around me. I carry peace within me. Calm doesn't mean passive. It doesn't mean weak. Calm is what allows you to see clearly when others panic. It is what allows you to respond rather than react. It's what keeps you grounded when emotions rise. And like any seed, calm must be planted consistently, watered often, and protected from the weeds of distraction and overthinking. But remember, the mind doesn't only respond to your positive intentions, it absorbs everything. If you feed it criticism, judgment, fear, or guilt, those will take root just as easily. That's why awareness is the key. Before you speak, before you react, before you tell yourself something harsh or heavy, pause. Ask yourself, is this the seed I want to plant today? You don't need to be perfect. Gardens don't grow without a few weeds, but you must tend to them. You must notice when a thought is unhelpful and gently remove it. You must see when fear is overgrowing the space where peace should live. You must notice when doubt is casting shadows over your vision. This is not control, it is care. Just like a gardener doesn't yell at the soil, you don't need to shame your mind. You simply return to the task, daily, quietly, with presence. The more you speak seeds of clarity, courage, and calm, the more natural it becomes. It stops being something you try to do and starts becoming who you are. Just like a well-tended garden begins to grow effortlessly with time, your mind begins to lean toward peace, focus, and strength without as much resistance. There will still be storms, days when old patterns show up, days when weeds return. That's part of the process. But the difference is, now you know how to respond. Now you know that you are not the storm, you are the soil, and you have the power to decide what stays and what goes. Speak clearly to yourself, not only with positivity but with truth. Tell yourself what you need to hear, not just what sounds good. Some days the seed you need is rest. Other days it's discipline. Some mornings you may need to tell yourself to slow down and listen. Other times to rise and take action. Only you will know, but you will only know if you are present. And presence begins with listening to the kind of garden you've been growing. In silence, you'll start to hear the subtle patterns. The voice that always says, not good enough. The voice that expects failure. The voice that compares you to others. These are old seeds. You may not have planted them consciously. They may have come from someone else, but you do not have to keep them. You can choose again, every day. Start small, one sentence in the morning, one moment of pause before reacting, one breath before choosing your response. Over time, these small acts become habits, habits become character, and character shapes everything. So the next time you wake up and reach for your thoughts, remember your mind is listening and it will grow whatever you plant. Let it be clarity, courage, and calm. Not because they make life easy, but because they make you strong enough to walk through life with presence and purpose. The garden is already there. The only question is, what are you planting today? Morning self-talk is not affirmation, it is self-direction. There is a quiet difference between repeating something to feel better and speaking something to become better. That difference is intention. When you speak to yourself in the morning, you are not simply trying to boost your mood or chant a hopeful phrase. You are giving yourself instructions for how you will live. It is not decoration, it is design. Each morning before the day takes shape, your mind is open. It is listening. It is ready to follow something. If you do not lead it, it will be led by default, by old thoughts, by fears, by habits that no longer serve you. This is why what you say to yourself matters, not as an attempt to sugarcoat life, but as a compass, a decision, a direction. Telling yourself, I am strong, is not just a nice phrase. It is a command. It says, today I will not give in to weakness. When it visits, I will remember my ability to endure. I will carry myself like someone who can stand tall even when things get hard. That is not just affirmation, that is self-leadership. Too often we treat morning thoughts like a motivational poster, something we glance at, maybe smile at, then walk away from without doing anything. But real self-talk is active. It's something you do with your whole being. It is the way you speak to your mind and then move your body in accordance with it. It is the way you tell yourself a story and then live as if that story is true. Think about it this way. When a coach speaks to an athlete before a competition, those words are not affirmations. They are directions. They are reminders of strategy, of discipline, of focus. They are tools. They are weapons. They are maps. Your self-talk should be the same. You are not trying to convince yourself of something. You are instructing your mind to follow a certain path. When you wake up and say, "Today I will be focused," you are not just wishing for fewer distractions. You are declaring, when distraction comes, I will notice it. I will redirect. I will stay on task because I have chosen what matters to me. You are creating a mindset that guides your behavior, your attention, your energy. Morning self-talk is your first act of alignment. Before the phone, before the world, before the outside noise, there is your voice. That voice can either set you free or trap you in patterns you say you want to escape. You can say, "I am overwhelmed," and carry that feeling like a weight all day. Or you can say, "I have time for what matters. I will move one step at a time," and then step by step, you begin to believe it. Self-direction means you are no longer waiting for the day to shape you. You are shaping yourself before the day even begins. You don't wait to feel motivated. You create clarity. You don't wait to feel strong. You declare your intent. You don't wait for peace to arrive. You walk in the direction of peace, even when the mind wants to pull you elsewhere. This is not about perfection. Some mornings, your voice will feel weak. Your energy will be low. You'll say things to yourself that sound mechanical, even forced. But that's the beauty of direction. It works even when you don't feel like it. You don't need to be inspired to follow a path. You just need to decide. And decision is what separates direction from affirmation. An affirmation says, "I am confident." A direction says, "Today I will speak clearly, stand upright, and meet discomfort with steadiness." An affirmation says, "I am calm." A direction says, "When pressure rises, I will breathe deeply and return to presence." One floats, the other leads. Your brain is not looking for decoration in the morning. It is looking for instruction. If you do not give it, it will pull from your past, from your patterns, from your fears. The brain does not know what's best for you by default. It only knows what you repeat. This is why your words in the morning are not a luxury. They are necessary. And it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Speak like a leader. Speak with clarity. Speak as if you are responsible for your mind, because you are. Don't beg yourself to feel better. Command yourself to move better. Choose words that carry weight, that shape behavior, that give you something real to follow. If you wake up and say, "I can't do this," your day will reflect it. You'll find evidence for your limitation. But if you say, "This is hard, and I will face it," suddenly the day shifts. The challenge is still there, but now you are facing it from a place of choice, of alignment, of strength. Self-direction is the practice of meeting yourself where you are and pointing toward where you want to go. It does not ignore pain. It does not deny difficulty. It simply refuses to let those things lead. So tomorrow morning when you open your eyes, pause. Do not rush into noise. Do not start with someone else's opinion or the headlines or the inbox. Start with your own voice. One sentence, spoken with presence. Let it be something true, something useful, something that directs your energy, your actions, your thoughts. Because morning self-talk is not just for confidence. It's not for comfort. It's for creation. You are creating your inner environment. You are giving yourself a map, and you are choosing how you will walk through the day on purpose. You are not just affirming your identity, you are directing your life. You are not your thoughts, but you become what you consistently believe. This may sound like a contradiction at first. How can you not be your thoughts and yet still become what you believe? But this is not a paradox. It is a deeper truth, one that reveals the way your inner world shapes your reality, silently and steadily, moment by moment. Thoughts are passing clouds. They appear, drift, and vanish. Some come from memory, others from fear. Some are useful, others misleading. They are reactions, echoes, background noise from a lifetime of experience. You cannot control every thought that arises in your mind. They come whether you invite them or not. But here's where your power lies. You don't have to believe every one of them. You don't have to follow every thought down its path. You don't have to become what a single moment of doubt, fear, or anger suggests. Thoughts are suggestions, not instructions. They are invitations, not commands. You can observe them without attaching yourself to them. You can hear a voice in your head say, "You're not good enough," and instead of accepting it, you can pause and ask, is this true, or is this just a familiar noise? That ability to separate yourself from your thoughts is what frees you. That ability to witness instead of absorb is the beginning of wisdom. But most people don't live this way. Most people move through life in reaction. A thought appears and they follow it. A fear arises and they obey it. A judgment enters and they believe it. Without realizing it, their lives become shaped by these unconscious patterns. And this is where belief enters the picture. You become what you consistently believe, not because belief is magic, but because it becomes the filter through which you see the world. It shapes what you notice, how you interpret, and what you choose. If you consistently believe you are unworthy, even when people show you love, you will find a reason to doubt it. If you believe life is always against you, you will find proof in every challenge. If you believe you're capable, you will keep trying even when it's hard. You will become the kind of person who persists, who adapts, who grows. Not because of what you think once, but because of what you choose to believe every day. There is a difference between a passing thought and a deeply rooted belief. A thought is a visitor, a belief is a home, and you get to choose what kind of home you build. You get to choose which thoughts you allow to stay long enough to take root. Belief begins when a thought is repeated and accepted. Over time, that belief becomes automatic. It no longer feels like a choice. It feels like truth. But many of these truths were not chosen consciously. They were inherited, absorbed, conditioned through experience and repetition. And yet, they guide behavior more powerfully than logic ever could. This is why you must become a careful observer of your inner world, not to judge every thought, not to silence your mind, but to notice which thoughts you are feeding, which ones you are turning into beliefs, because beliefs become patterns, and patterns become identity. If every time you fail, you tell yourself, "I knew I wasn't cut out for this," that belief will grow. Soon, you won't even try new things because you already know how it ends. But if you meet failure with a different belief, "This is how I learn, this is how I grow," you will keep showing up, and eventually that belief becomes part of who you are. A person who grows through experience. A person who is not afraid to begin again. You don't become what you think once, you become what you return to over and over again. The belief that runs quietly in the background, repeated every morning, reinforced every time you act in alignment with it. That's what shapes you. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. One moment of motivation won't change you, but a quiet belief held day after day will shift everything. You are not your thoughts, you are not your fears, you are not your past. But if you believe them long enough, you will start to live as if they are true. And this is how identity gets built, by the beliefs you accept, the ones you practice, the ones you reinforce through daily choice. So you must ask yourself, what am I choosing to believe about myself, about life, about what's possible for me? Not once, not just in a journal, but in the way you speak to yourself, in the way you react to setbacks, in the way you carry yourself when no one is watching. Belief is not just an idea. It's a posture, it's a way of being, and like any habit, it can be changed. It begins with awareness. The next time a thought arises, pause, ask, do I want this to become part of me? Do I want to believe this? And if not, gently let it go. Replace it not with a fantasy, but with a direction, with a belief that empowers, a belief that aligns, a belief that builds the kind of person you want to become. Because at the end of the day, you are not your thoughts. You are the one who chooses which ones to feed. And over time, those choices create your inner landscape. They shape how you see the world, how you treat others, how you respond to difficulty. They shape your path. So guard that space, cultivate it, speak to it with care, feed it with clarity, fill it with beliefs that help you rise, not just once, but every single day. You may not control every thought, but you always choose what you believe, and what you believe is what you will become. Strength is not shouting. It's the quiet inner voice that says, try again. We often mistake strength for volume, for noise, for visible intensity in a world that rewards boldness and glorifies the loudest voice in the room. It's easy to believe that being strong means being forceful, dominating every situation, raising your voice, always looking confident and showing no signs of struggle. But real strength doesn't need to shout, it doesn't need to prove itself. Real strength whispers, it endures, it stays steady in moments of silence when no one is watching. Real strength is the soft but unwavering voice that says, get up, let's try again. You see, anyone can act powerful when things are easy. Anyone can smile when the path is smooth. But strength reveals itself when everything feels heavy. When your heart is tired, your body aches, and your mind begins to doubt whether you should keep going. That's when true strength shows up. Not in fireworks, but in a breath, in a decision, in the choice to continue. Think about the hardest moments of your life. The moments when things didn't go as planned, when you failed, when someone let you down, when you let yourself down. Those moments didn't require you to be loud. They required you to be resilient, and that resilience wasn't built in a single act. It came from that small, persistent voice inside you that kept whispering, don't give up. You're not finished yet. One more step. Try again. It's not dramatic, it's not glamorous, but it's real. That quiet voice is the root of every comeback story. It's the source of every breakthrough. It's what allows you to face rejection and still move forward, to face failure and still believe there's something worth building. That whisper doesn't always sound confident. Sometimes it trembles. Sometimes it barely rises above the noise of fear. and fatigue. But it's there, and if you listen to it, it can carry you through storms. Real strength lives in that space between falling and rising. It's what makes you stand up when staying down would be easier. It's what makes you speak kindness when anger would be justified. It's what makes you stay committed when you feel like quitting. And it's not a one-time effort, it's a practice, a choice made over and over, each time you fall short of your own expectations. The world will often tell you that strength is about showing no weakness. But the truth is, strength is moving forward in the presence of weakness. It's acknowledging pain and still choosing to heal. It's recognizing fear and still choosing to act. It's not about being invincible, it's about being courageous enough to try again, knowing that you may fail again and still believing it's worth it. Trying again doesn't mean repeating the same mistakes. It means returning to your purpose with more awareness, with better tools, with deeper humility. It means learning, adapting, growing. That process is quiet. It happens in the early hours, in the late nights, in the quiet spaces where no one gives you applause. And yet, that's where the transformation happens. So many people give up, not because they lack ability, but because they confuse struggle with weakness. They think if they don't feel confident, they're not ready. They think if the voice inside them is small, it must not be worth listening to. But that voice, the one that says, try again, is the voice of your higher self. The part of you that sees who you could become, not just who you've been. You won't always feel strong. But strength is not a feeling, it's a direction. It's the decision to show up, even when doubt fills your mind. And each time you try again, you reinforce that direction. You prove to yourself that failure doesn't define you, that effort matters, that progress is built one attempt at a time. This is why real strength is so quiet, because it's not seeking attention. It doesn't need validation. It just wants to grow. It wants to rise. It wants to align with something deeper than ego, something grounded in purpose. Look at nature. The strongest trees don't scream. They simply grow slowly and silently through every season. They bend with the wind. They survive storms. Their roots deepen with time. That's the kind of strength that lasts. Not flashy, not loud, just present, just enduring, just quietly alive. So the next time you fail, the next time the weight feels too much, the next time you hear that voice of doubt saying, what's the point? Pause, breathe, and listen for that other voice. It may not be loud, it may not sound heroic, but it will say the words that matter most. Try again. That whisper is your guide. It's your reminder that you are not finished, that one more effort, one more day, one more breath could be the one that changes everything. Strength is not shouting. It is not pretending you're never tired, never afraid. Strength is choosing to return again and again to your purpose. It is the quiet power of not giving up. And sometimes it's just the willingness to begin one more time. So when the world tells you strength is loud, prove it wrong with your quiet persistence. When your doubts try to drown you out, return to that still, steady voice within, the one that doesn't scream but refuses to be silenced, the one that doesn't demand attention but keeps moving forward. Strength is not about never falling. It's about rising with dignity each time you do. It's in the breath you take before standing back up. It's in the decision to keep going, even when no one sees your effort. Let others shout to prove their power. You don't need to, because real strength is calm. It is humble. It is quiet. And in that silence, it speaks the loudest truth. Try again.